some good things coming again for the child services piece. So that will be announced next week.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
I did respond, so they got my quote.
Oh, they did. Good.
Yeah.
Good. I wasn't sure who was all, because I did suggest you quote.
Mhm.
They get a quote
Hello,
from you.
everyone online. We can hear your discussion. We're about to get started.
Sorry.
just to let you know.
Thank you.
No worries. We're all good. Okay, welcome to the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee meeting on Thursday, June the 9th. First thing we'll do is we'll get City Clerk to do a roll call, if we could, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. For the members of the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee, do the roll call. Councillor Campbell.
Present.
Councillor John Middleton Hope.
Present.
Councillor Barker.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schmidt-Rempel. She's not here, so we have 3 out of the 4 members, so we have quorum.
Thank you. Start with the acknowledgements statement. The City of Lethbridge acknowledges that we are gathered on the plains of the Blackfoot people, the Canadian Plains, and pays respect to the Blackfoot people, past, present, and future, while recognizing and respecting their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationship to the land. The City of Lethbridge is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. You have all of the things? Right. First off is the adoption of the agenda. I'll get Mr. Parker to do the adoption of the agenda. Resolution that the agenda of the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee meeting on June 9th, 2022 be adopted as presented.
Before that, I'd just add, if I could add one thing to the agenda, Mr. Chair, is it possibly the Galt Gardens accessible playground location, just for discussion? And the discussion could lead to whatever, but that would be after the Palix presentation, of course.
That's fine. For me, is that, do we have to get a vote from everyone?
And you're also going to add about
Right. And I'm also going to add just a little discussion about professional development as requested by the Governance Committee at the end.
Seeing those 2 items are added, Mr. Chairman, I would just ask for this committee's support in ratifying the agenda.
Question's been called. All in favor? Okay. All right. I trust everyone has had a look at the minutes. Resolution from go do Councillor Parker again. Be it resolved that the minutes of the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee meeting held on May 12th be adopted and approved, and Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to sign the same. Councillor Parker?
I would just call the question.
Question's been called. All in favor? Thank you. That goes. Next, we have the submission from the Palix Foundation. I'll do the resolution first off. Be it resolved that the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee recommends that City Council approve a memorandum of understanding between the Palix Foundation, University of Lethbridge, and the City of Lethbridge to promote the implementation of the Alberta Family Wellness Initiative. I believe we do have members from the Palix Foundation online, correct?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
It's Nancy Mannix. I'm chair and patron of the foundation.
Great. And also Robin Gibb as well? Thank you. First thing we'd like to do is, I understand there are some corrections that needed to be made on the memorandum of agreement. Is there someone who can address that? City Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. We noticed that there were some corrections that needed to be done. They're minor in nature to the memorandum of understanding. The first was there's a few spelling mistakes. So we were going to correct those mistakes, proving to providing in the second last paragraph. And unfortunately, we spelled university wrong, so hopefully we'll get that right. And there was a duplicated number 3.3. So okay. Those corrections will be made when it goes back to council and circulated to the other bodies.
Great. Are there any questions from members of the committee to the Palix Foundation at this time? I guess, I guess to the chair, just the significance of this memorandum of agreement and understanding and how significant it is for your foundation along with having the agreement with the city and also in reference to what it will do for the community. If you can just address that.
Well, okay, so thank you very much, and we really are honored to be here to, again, continue this partnership with the City of Lethbridge. As you know, we were invited by the city last year to think about creating a partnership with a formal agreement, and we pursued that with the City of Lethbridge and the University of Lethbridge as a key partner in the work that's gone on here across the province. And as University of Lethbridge internationally recognized for the Canadian Centre for Behavioral Neuroscience. So the opportunity that we see really is being more intentional as communities come together, whether it's the private foundation and other funders, along with academics, along with our providers, whether it's child services, whether it's Alberta Health Services, primary care, the educational institutions in the Lethbridgean area. We really see this as a tremendous opportunity for regional uptake. So smaller system uptake, but again, support from larger policy frames that are already been adopted in the province. So we see this as a real opportunity to engage and accelerate the knowledge that's already being used within the Lethbridgean area region to really have it come together in a more robust way so that our collective resources are going to be more effective across the sectors that we all engage in to improve outcomes for kids and their families in the Lethbridgean area.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Is there anybody who has anything that they want to add at this time? Anyone in? Okay, 1 second.
The question that arose was about item number 3.3, about the university, about the Palix Foundation's views being put forth before the council, before the cities.
Okay.
So,
Sure. Just from the city clerk, we wanted to just bring up what some of the questions were in the last council meeting that was brought forward to us regarding, and I'll allow Mr. Sarsfield to explain what it is.
Thanks, Chair. When the issue went to council last week, the issue arose, the renumbered number 3.4 or the second 3.3, and it was about the city promoting the collaboration course in the Brain Story brand in a manner consistent with the framing and terminology, and that it's not to reflect negatively on the collaboration, the course, the Brain Story brand, the foundation, or the university. So that was the concern that was issued by a member of the public. So this particular committee was tasked with making sure that they were satisfied that that would not be an issue with the city.
Good. And so members of the Palix Foundation, is there any issues?
So I just want to be clear on what the question was. I was a little sorry the way the question was being worded. If you could help me understand a little bit better what the question is.
Okay, I'll get Mr. Sarsfield to reiterate.
Okay, sorry.
So this is my interpretation. I wasn't there at the meeting, but the issue that arose was in number 3.4 or the second 3.3, depending on which agreement you have. Yeah. It says the city promoting the Brain Story and the Palix Foundation ahead of their own needs and issues. So the question arose, would we put the city at risk by promoting the Brain Story without reflecting the city's issues and concerns and so forth? That's really what it amounted to. And so the answer that they were hoping to receive was that if there was any need to collaborate or any questions or whatever, there would not be insistence on the Palix Foundation that we have to do this or we have to do that. That's really what I think it stemmed from.
Thank
I
you.
was not there, so I may not have said it exactly right.
Yeah.
Council,
So,
last week, 2 weeks ago.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and respond.
sure. So, and thank you. I mean, it's a good question. I just we see that the way we have typically work, and we have a long track record of it, of really being very collaborative in the way we help facilitate the relationships and the engagement with the knowledge. And people are ready when they're ready. So we don't have that sense of obligation on our part of what we expect. It really is about community and shared interest and moving at the speed in which people are capable of moving at. The good news is in Lethbridge, there is so much already there that it really is about just continuing to pull together those organizations that are embedded and have been doing this work for some time. And again, helping to mentor other organizations into the work as well. So that's really, it's just really a facilitation process that we really provide to allow for those things to actually happen.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone from administration who wants to address this, or Mr. Bowe?
Yes, so this memorandum of understanding is for a partnership just to further the work of the brain study, and which is in alignment with the community well-being and safety strategy, and just providing our support and partnership on that, and in any way we can to help further that work and that awareness through the community.
Councillor Parker.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Sarsfield, for kind of refreshing our memory on this one. And thank you, ladies, for your presentation, or being here to answer questions. Are you going to be available to answer questions when this does go to council for ratification on the 21st of June? Because I'm guessing that's when it's going to be going to council for, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Sarsfield.
I'm just looking it up.
Okay.
I think that's the date that we have as well, is June 21st. I might be en route traveling, and depending on my time zone, I'll be in Europe. If I can, I definitely will come in on that. But we will have someone else, if not me, from the foundation to answer questions, as I'm sure Robin or Brian would likely be available from the University of Lethbridge.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked that is obviously I don't see any opposition around this table for what's being presented here, but someone in the community can make a presentation in response to something like that, and it stirs conversation. And I just don't want this to be tabled again for another 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So if we can get those questions, if they do come about at that meeting, it's nice to have a representative there to answer questions, even though MS Teams works just as good. So it doesn't need to be in person, of course.
Great.
And it is June 21st. I've just been reaffirmed that it is June 21st.
Thank you. And what time of day is it at?
Well, you know what? The agenda has, well, our council meetings do start at 1:30, but if possible, if it makes it more convenient for you guys, because you guys work and some of you are on have well-deserved holidays probably, we could probably have it as a presentation. We could probably have it early in the agenda. I can make that recommendation to the agenda committee. So then it's not something that, well, when are we going to finally come up? If it's like at 2 o'clock, we're going to deal with this, or 2:15, then we can deal with that resolution right off the bat. And we have done that in the past, haven't we, Mr. Sarsfield?
Correct. But right now, it would just be on the consent agenda.
Consent agenda, okay. So if it's on the consent agenda by protocol, then it's right off the bat. Unless a member of council wants something to be removed off the consent agenda and voted on separately, then it kind of goes to the back of the bus. But we can probably request that it go right after the consent agenda to be voted on.
If someone,
If someone requests that.
I don't want to speak for everyone, but I don't see
I
what
can't.
the issue is here, that we should have any more discussion about something that is good for both the university, the city, and also the community.
I'm not arguing the fact at all, but there's a reason why it's here again today, is because of a conversation that was brought up at a prior meeting. So
Right.
otherwise, this would have been done, taken care of at the last council meeting.
Okay. So unless are there any other discussions or any other concerns, are we ready to vote on sending this to council? Anyone else have anything else to add?
So I just want to ask quickly, did you want us to present anything at council, or just be there?
Just like what you're doing right now.
Be available.
Right. Okay. Great, thank you.
And I'm not going to predict, but if it should go straight to the consent agenda and should be done with, I would think. But that could change.
Stranger things have occurred.
Apparently there has. All right. So I'm going to pass this on to Councillor Middleton Hope with the resolution.
Oh, yes, John.
If you can. Again, be it resolved, the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee recommends that City Council approve a memorandum of understanding between the Palix Foundation, University of Lethbridge, and the City of Lethbridge to promote the implementation of the Alberta Family Wellness Initiative. Councillor Middleton Hope.
Thank you, Chair. Unless there are additional comments, concerns, questions, debate, then I will call a question.
I see none. The vote has been called. All in favor? That passes. Thank you. Thank you very much online. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We've added to the agenda the Galt Gardens, the new funding that was approved for the new playground at the Galt Gardens, and I see Andrew Malcolm is here.
If I could just give some context to that, Mr. Chairman. First of all, it's kind of fortuitous because I took a phone call earlier, and Mr. Malcolm, thank you very much for being here on short notice, and I appreciate the hard work you're doing on behalf of the downtown, and you've always done a great job. So my question to you is, not that I follow the go by the barometer of social media in regards to any issues, otherwise we can go down a dark road, but this one seemed to really cause a lot of conversation in the community in regards to not the funding, and I think the funding was a good portion of this to be federal grant, and I know that we approved in the CIP some new parks and all that. It's regarding the location and the role of who made that decision and what criteria was used in regards to safety. And I thought since it's being a community safety committee, this might be the great place to ask the questions. So can you probably give me some background behind that?
That on? There we go. Yeah, so going back a number of years, there was extensive public engagement to complete the Galt Gardens master plan. And in that master plan, the number one priority of the community through that engagement was a playground or play space. In the master plan, it alluded to that southwest corner. Sorry, yeah, east corner. And so it was really honestly not high on our priority list in terms of downtown infrastructure. But when the Canada Community Revitalization Fund came available last year, the parameters and the opportunity was very specific. Downtown revitalization, reinventing green space, and accessibility. And we looked back through our plans and understood what our best opportunity was to try and get that federal grant money. And it was pretty clear and obvious to administration that it was a downtown revitalization project in a green space that attended and looked at accessibility. So we went back to that Galt Gardens master plan and looked at where the opportunities were, and again, number one priority being a playground or play space. And that is when we brought it forward to council to commit the $125,000 towards the project through a previously already approved CIP, Public Realm Enhancement Project. At that point in time, we made the application and we were successful in that. So we do have a $500,000 project to do with $375,000 coming from the federal government. And a further thought to that location is really around the fact that it builds off the synergies of the existing Rotary Fountain, which, regardless of the real or perceived issues in the downtown, is a very busy place for children and families in the summer. We wanted to build off of that, give another reason for families to stay in that area, dwell, enjoy their downtown. And further to that, it's located directly in between SAG and CASA, both of which have children's programs who have struggled with the issues in the park over the last 5 years, and they've been very vocal to us. And we believe that involving them in the design, we are able to actually supplement and help support their programs, adding an extra amenity to really create a vibrant downtown. So those are some of the pieces on the location. As it relates to safety, our design consultants, we have been very, very specific to say that CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design, is an utmost importance of this design of the park. So the surface will all be rubber surface. There will be no grass, sands, those types of things. And there will be no hidden spaces, sight lines, and we're including lighting improvements as well. So we're considering it from that angle. And from a perspective of operations, will be working with the WATCH, the Downtown BRZ's Clean Sweep program, our existing Galt Gardens security, and the parks maintenance crews to ensure that this place is as safe as possible once it's open.
I really appreciate that, and I know that you guys sent out a briefing, the good news story and all that, but some of that kind of lacks the context, so what happens is things fester on social media. So I was just a little concerned regarding the reasoning behind it, but I can, if people do call me now, I can say, give the logic and all that. So I just wanted to have you here to answer that question, but thank you. I see there's other members, so Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Councillor Middleton Hope.
Thank you. And Andrew, I appreciate the attention to detail that you've provided us this afternoon, because it's not clear in some of the other communications and so forth. And as you're probably well aware, I have concerns around safety, particularly in that location. Can you, are you in a position to be able to articulate any additional strategies that might be forthcoming, or that you might consider in addition to the placement of a park in the Galt Gardens? Are there initiatives planned? Are there events planned to create a normal space from what has become an abnormal space?
So I'd say that at this point, we do not have a specific strategy around how we're going to program around the playground. But as part of our ongoing efforts of downtown revitalization and the use of the Downtown Redevelopment Fund in the operating budget, we have some flexibility because we oversee the Galt Garden security. We joint fund the Clean Sweep program. We work very closely with our partners, and we are continually meeting and reacting and tweaking, flexible, to provide the right level of service for the park to the best we can. To think that we can alleviate all the problems through these initiatives is just not possible. But we are very tuned in to the realities of the playground, or to the park, and we are really doing our very best to ensure that this will be a safe environment. And one piece that I haven't talked about yet is just the importance of adding people to a space like Galt Gardens is a key element in creating safety. By having people on the space and in public spaces, it simply creates an environment where more people want to be. We have tried this over the last 4 and 5 years with patios and parklets, a number of our public space improvements, and we've seen it with a great deal of success. When there are people out sitting in a public environment, they naturally feel safer, and it's almost like a magnet. Can we guarantee that's going to happen? Absolutely not, but we do have seen successes in Lethbridge and in other municipalities, and that is really the kind of at the crux of what we're looking to do here.
Good. I look forward to some of the additional events and activities that might be hosted in the park this year, and if there are additional structures that are going to be erected there, lemonade stands, those kind of hot chocolate during the wintertime. We're certainly, I certainly am in favor of that approach to create normal space out of what has become abnormal space. There are other strategies that I won't allude to here, but you are aware of, that I know that you've been exploring as well. And is there anything that you can share with this body and or the public in terms of any other activities that we might expect out of the park?
I think it's important to note that the last 2 years have been very abnormal in the park in terms of there have been no events and festivals planned. In prior years, Galt Gardens is one of our premier events and festivals parks, and there's almost, I wouldn't say daily, but weekly large-scale events. Those events bring in activity that breaks up some of the negative behavior or discourages it, and we do fully intend, we've already seen the event schedule for this year, that it will be back to pre-COVID levels. Just on that, I'll just kind of put it out there that the City of Lethbridge, through the Heart of Our City Committee, does fund to the tune of $120,000 a year for events and festivals in our downtown, and the vast majority of those occur in Galt Gardens. And so we are funding those. We're excited to help them be successful, and we have been in talks with those event hosts. They're excited to have another element in the park that they can use and leverage that they don't have to move in. There's often bouncy castles, those types of things for kids. Now there will be an element in the park that is already there for them to leverage.
That's really encouraging, and maybe we can get back to movies in the park and those kinds of things. That would be very helpful. Good. So is there anything else that we can look at in terms of this discussion that we're having? When can we anticipate that this might be started and or completed?
So that's an interesting parameter that was considered when we had to put in the grant application, is these projects has to be completed by March 2023. it being an outdoor venue and our weather, that is likely a completion date of November 2022. So we're moving very aggressively through design right now, and we anticipate construction to begin probably in mid-August. Again, hopefully entirely wrapped up by November in order to meet that March 2023 deadline. But that is where we have to have every bill paid and wrapped up with the federal government.
Well, I wish you and your area certainly best of success and all the success to the city for having a new playground.
Children's pickleball court. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, good. Councillor Parker.
Thank you, and once again, thank you for the questions. This certain project or grant we applied for had to have certain things to check off in the box. So downtown, accessibility, that kind of stuff. So there wasn't a whole bunch of other areas in the city that qualified for that. Because a lot of people go, why don't they do this and this and over this park, right? Am I correct in stating that?
Yes, that's 100% correct. The parameters were downtown, accessibility, and reinventing public spaces. Again, largely coming out of the pandemic, those were areas that we saw in incredibly high demand. And so those were the parameters. And so we evaluated, I think, over 30 projects in the city before we came to council. And I brought forward the projects that we thought had the best case for success. And we had also brought forward a project at the Casa Rotary Square, and I believe there will be some successful news coming from that one as well.
I know some people are, there's some cynical people in the community, a few of them, not a lot of them, but they're going to say, well, you have to pay to be downtown, so how accessible is this and all that? But there's spin-off of the people parking in the mall and spin-off after hours and on the weekends, so I totally understand it. I appreciate the background. One thing I would recommend is, it's kind of a good news, is there a possibility to put up some kind of sign with like a design, a picture of what this, like a future park, and underneath it, federal money, this and that? So we've done that with other projects.
Yeah, so we're just working through the finalization of the concept design. And so once we have that concept design, we do intend on throwing that up on a board in the park at the site with the information on the funding.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Mr. Malcolm.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. We certainly can go down rabbit holes if we needed to, but this was a good hole to get down, and we got out. Okay. So I've got a resolution. I'll give this to Ryan Parker. Be it resolved that the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee accept the report on the Galt Gardens Accessibility Playground as information. Councillor Parker. We're just as information.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you for writing that up quickly.
I did it.
And I just want to thank Mr. Malcolm, and I appreciate that. I know there's a lot of information out there, but it's most importantly that people make their opinions based on facts, and whatever their opinion is, so be it, but they need to know the facts. So I appreciate the presentation, and I call the question.
Question McCall, all in favor? That passes. Next, we're just wanted to have a discussion on professional development. It was the governance committee. Councillor Crowson asked all of the committees to, if they had any ideas about any professional development on each of the committees. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up in terms of the Community Safety Standing Policy Committee? Yeah, that's right. Or you could, if you've got any ideas, just forward them to Councillor Crowson. Yep, nobody? Anyone from? Nope. Okay. That then we'll just leave that as information. And unless there's anything else, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Could have been faster, but.
Yeah. Well, we're